Alright, hello! And welcome to my little evaluation thing of my procedurally generated roguelike that I've been doing for my dissertation. Basically, for part of the project, I had to I made the build of the game, then gave it to a couple of people to give feedback on, and then make changes to the game. And basically, the purpose of this video is just to basically demo the bigger of the changes that I made. And hopefully, if you're actually developing a roguelike for real or games in general, it'll be at least somewhat helpful. So I thought I'd just do this. So yeah. First was one of the main things I had to do was not that. Where is it? So I've got a list of issues here. I'll just zoom in on them. Sorry. So gameplay, the main generation part of the procedurally generated roguelike is the procedural generation. And in the first build of this, there was a couple of issues like doors led to nowhere, and but the main thing was people had a lot of areas of the map were unexplored, which you can see through these heat maps I used to generate from runs of levels. So if I just expand this for a bit for you so you can see it better. Just move you. Basically, if you look, actually I'll make this bigger too, just for you. Basically, this bottom version in colour, well turquoise, is just a normal map of the level generated. And this is a heat map, so basically this was generated by having an array the size of the map in tiles, and basically for every second they spent there, I increased the R value of the drawing of the level. So it gave me an idea of how long each person spent in an area. And you can sort of see how they compare. There were a few issues, like say there's a little bit of room here, corridor actually, that didn't get used. Whole big chunk here of just nothingness, and lots of black areas, that you can see here in particular. They just weren't got in by the player, which is kind of a problem, because if the player isn't really having a reason to go there, then, what's the point of it being there? Yeah, and you can see the other bits they tend to focus around here and down here, and yeah, that's a bit it. And you'll see this is sort of common with the other ones, especially here. Again, a lot of the centre of the map they didn't go to. And I think if you can see, the blue dots are doors in the map. So you can see in the centre room here that I'm looking at, there is now leading from that door. So kind of superfluous doors, why would you need two doors into the same room next to each other? I mean, and like that, there again, just doors going out to nowhere because the level generation wasn't the best it could be. So basically, I gutted it and took the decent parts of the level generation, which is mainly just the drawing of stuff, like the tiles and whatnot, and changed the algorithm to do it. So if I'll just go through here. Yeah, and I'll get to the GUI that I changes in a minute. So basically the idea of the game is you activate generators and then you go around. You activate enough generators to power up the teleporters that you can find in a level, and that'll take you to another level, and you repeat that process till you die, because just a vertical slice, and yeah, I hadn't programmed much. Not programmed. I didn't have to make much more for that because it's not actually a proper full game, but whatever. So yeah, if I just kill these guys, as you can see from the new generation, if we just sort of compare that, it's going to be hard because I don't actually have a output map of it, but if you'll see that between the two, there's quite a bit of difference. Basically, I re-changed the algorithm so that instead of using basically the algorithm to build this level was basically we'd have a little point on the map. So maybe it started at 0, 0 in the grid coordinates because it's a 50 by 50 grid of tiles that used to build the level. And basically for that, it'd just move in a direction and then have a random chance of changing direction or making a room. And that would basically what's the word? And every time it moved, if it didn't change direction or make a room, it increased the odds of doing that on the next try. And basically, we'd do that for, I think it was 2,500 times to generate the level. And as you can see, that could be controlled by this random seed. And as you can see, it gave us similar levels, you know. So yeah, it gave us like quite erratic levels. I mean, they worked, you know, they were entirely valid for gameplay wise because I had checks for if a room wasn't accessible via the pathfinding algorithm that the AI uses, then it wouldn't have anything put in it. But as you can see, there were some bugs like doors up to nowhere and whatnot, and stuff like that. So yeah, but this algorithm, like I said, had problems with that people didn't use large areas of the map. So one of the changes I made to rectify this was basically just a less erratic map, hopefully, and only having, I think, 2 doors per room. So basically, this new algorithm, it just chooses random points to create a random room, assuming that the room is can fit in the grid and it doesn't go off the edge. And then 2 doors are placed in that room. One is just a random tile on the edge, and the other one is the furthest tile away from that initial door. So we've got 2 doors on each room. And then for each door, we use the A-star pathfinding algorithm that's been implemented for the AI to draw a path to every other door. And this is done once all the buildings have been placed. Well, not buildings, rooms. And this gives us this nice sort of wide open corridor type deal. So it's not quite as erratic looking as the other one. I mean, you can still see that there are some problems, like this little area here is just a bit cut off corridor. I'm not sure why that's there. I'm guessing because some kind of pathfinding algorithm, maybe this one decided to go this way and up to that door, but at the same time, when the walls were drawn, this cut it off. So it's not perfect, but it's better. Yeah. What else? So yeah, it just places rooms with a random width and height, and then draws paths between the doors placements, which are done. One is done by a random tile that's on the edge of the room, and another one is just the furthest tile away from that, which I already said, so I should stop repeating myself. But just in case this wasn't enough, I also sort of I tried to make it more so the player has to discover the map. So okay, that doesn't help me at all, but basically it's supposed to get the undrawn map, but it hasn't, so I don't know why that is. Damn. Oh well. But yeah. If I could just fix that actually. So basically the idea is the player gets the map and draws it. Oh, I think I know why that is actually. Basically, sorry, I forgot. I think if I generate a new level and don't switch over to the scene view, then it'll work, because the revealing of tiles is based on if the camera can see if the sprite renderer for the tile is visible. So I'm assuming by switching to the scene view, I made all of them visible. So they must have done that. So hopefully, I can show you next time in a minute. Yeah, as you can see, we have a little flashy bit where the player is moved the black dot. I can just switch to the original color palette. So yeah, basically we can see that the map gets revealed as the player walks around it. So hopefully that will, I'm not wanting to confuse players so much as make them explore more. And that, combined with the less erratic levels, should hopefully. I'm not trying to. I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to give it like less choice of routes, but still keep the levels. Because if you look at the original ones, basically, it was quite erratic, so you had a lot of routes to get to places. But if we look at this, there aren't that many routes, so yeah. So hopefully the player will be able to be exposed to a lot more of the map while still having this feel of being randomly generated, and you get a new map every time. And there are less bugs in it, so that's a plus. What else? And I think that covers it all for how I was trying to keep people like looking at all the map. What else? Again, there were some issues where people found that there was not enough variation, which, they've got a point, but it's a vertical slice. It's not meant to have, and it's not meant to be a full game, basically. If I were, making it, I'd add more types of rooms, weapons, stuff like that, just general game content. But for that, it's, yeah. But I don't really need to do that for my dissertation, so that should be alright. Another issue was the enemies were found to be too easy. Basically, how that works is you have a sort of combined power and health bar, which you'll see in the bottom. So if I shoot, you'll see that it goes down. It has 2 bars, so the light blue is your current power, the medium blue is your maximum power, so what the light blue will recharge to, and there's a dark blue, which I won't be able to show you for the moment, which is the sort of dark blue, which is if you fire and you've got no power, it'll reduce your max power, so say you're doing damage to the battery. And yeah. So that's what that is. And so that's the mechanic. And I'll just get rid of U-bricks. So yeah, as you can see now, max power's been reduced, so it'll only recharge up to that point. So 59 out of 108. Yeah, so one person found that sort of because your health regenerated so fast in comparison to the original attack damage, which was, I think it was 3 damage times the level number. So it basically scales as you get further through the levels, the enemies get harder to kill and do more damage. It's a pretty normal difficulty curve. So I just upped that basically. The enemies do more damage overall, but I kept the health amount the same. So I think health is just 1 times the level count. So I'd say they can take, what does this do? 1 damage, so this will take 2 shots to kill them in the next level, but only 1 shot in this level, because they do 1.5 for damage a shot. And yeah, and then I've got similar scaling for other weapons. Let's actually reveal the map. Just you to. Have I got a armory? Yeah, there's an armory down there, which I can use to show the GUI stuff. So another issue I had was the GUI was kind of a pain, which in retrospect I can agree with completely, because it was. One problem was it didn't track your progress, so you can see now that there's 2 types of yellow dot. So if you'll see just below the red flashing dot, that is an unactivated generator, and the bright yellow ones are activated ones. So just a little bit of feedback to say, we want to keep track of the progress while you're through the game, so you know where to go and where you've been and stuff like that. So that was some feedback I got. And also feedback from someone. One of them was that the GUI was hard to read, basically for 2 reasons. One, the font was a piece of shit that made the zeros look like 8s, and that was a pain. So yeah. And the second was that the GUI for items was confusing because I didn't know they didn't know like what did what was better, what was worse, etc. So as you can see now, before I just have the raw values, so the damage reduction for that, it would just display like the numbers that you can see in the inventory. But for the improved version, sorry, I did it's like a comparison of them, so you can just quickly compare them on the fly. Like you can look at it, you can judge. Okay, that shield on the ground has better power. Is worse because it's got less damage reduction and more power reduction, so we can leave that. So you can tell it on the fly. These dual laser pistols do a lot more damage, so I'll take them. Battery increases the recharge rate, but gives us less max power, so might as well take that. And since it's a new battery, we get our max back. Again, laser rifle does more damage, more power per shot, so why not? But less fire rate. So yeah, is there anything else in the thing? Aside from just technical stuff like a GUI not scaling well to upwards of 1080 and 1920 by 1080, sorry. Also had to add colour blindness for the maps. So by using the left and right arrows, you can switch colour palette, which I wouldn't have thought of actually, but someone after one of my friends that I used to test the game told me he couldn't like differentiate the colours between quite a few of the map bits, so all the little icons here for doors and generators and whatnot all look the same as the corridors. So I had to grab, I think it was this little colour blindness app from the Mac App Store. So I used that just to like look at colour palettes and see what kind of palette it'd give. Like, it'd let you differentiate between the colours, sort of, and not look too silly. So that was what I came up with, and I added a little thing to basically show the position, the what everything is in the colour that it is. So, you know, just usability and stuff like that. That was quite useful. What else? I think that's it, actually. And one other thing was the pseudo 3D effect that I've got. So you can see that we're behind this 2D wall now. But if we go below it, we're in front of it. Ooh, spooky. Right, and yeah, we can activate doors, and we've got teleporters. No teleporters, tentacles, which is just like a GUI thing I made up. Not GUI, just random bit of environmental things, so you get more of them when you go through the levels. So yeah, I hope you found my incoherent ramblings really somewhat useful. Got any questions about what I did or anything really? Feel free to leave a comment. There's a download on Itch.io if you want to have a go and stuff like that. Yeah, so cheers for watching. Bye.